Hello, welcome back to Welcome to Cinema Podcast. If you know what we're doing, this month we're going to be just talking about Federico Fellini's films, and this is the second one we're going to be talking about, Nights of Cabiria.
So, Nights of Cabiria, this is the second time both of us have watched it, I believe.
Yeah, we watched it for the first time at like a cinema club thing during COVID. I don't remember their name.
They were Sands Films Cinema Club.
In the UK.
Big shout out to them. I think they're still doing virtual
and physical
showings. And they run, I'm pretty sure, on donations.
Yeah.
So we're not connected with them or affiliated them in any way, but we do think that they do a service for film lovers.
Yeah, and music. They also do live concerts sometimes. Sorry about the cats being very loud. But yeah, Nights of Cabiria. This is another collaboration between Fellini and his wife, Messina. And Cabiria is actually her character from
The White Sheik. She makes
just a small appearance.
Yeah.
That's a cool little fact. I think they didn't really connect, really, but
no, they don't mention, like, Nights of Cabiria doesn't really mention anything about anything that happened in The White Sheik, but it's just,
it's cool.
It's like an expansion on a character that you kind of already know if you've been familiar with his work.
Yeah, it's cool without being like, oh, you gotta watch the first movie of it's just a little snippet.
Yeah. But, I'll go ahead and expose myself. The first time we watched this, I did not know that she was a prostitute.
Yeah.
No clue.
I've seen other people say that.
Like, absolutely just, it did not connect with me. And it wasn't until after the discussion part, I guess, in the Sands Film Club, I think, is he, like, talked about it at the end.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that she was a prostitute.
I don't know.
I've seen people say it took them a while to connect the dots, it's not. I mean, it's not explicitly said.
Yeah, but I spent the whole movie being like, I just don't understand why she would just get in random people's cars. Like, does she not know that bad things can happen to her?
I mean, it's explicitly said that there's women around her that are prostitutes, but I guess they do say in the beginning that she's a working lady, but I guess if you miss that or if you don't connect that working lady means a lady of the night.
Yeah, I just kind of assumed that she was like, oh, she's not a stay-at-home type woman.
Yeah.
She's not a homemaker. She works outside the home, but I got it this time. I knew that going in this time.
Okay, so Nights of Cabiria, of course, about the main character, Cabiria, and we just follow what she does, and she is a prostitute, which makes this the second movie in a row where Fellini explores the criminal acts that come off the poverty of post-war Italy. Because the movie he did before this one was The Swindlers, Il Bidone, which is about, people scamming the poor, and now it's a prostitute trying to make a living. But she doesn't like it, obviously. I would assume. Most people don't love it.
I think with her, it's kind of...
She wants love.
She does want love. And she has this sort of naive personality while also being...
streetwise.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's very smart. Like, she doesn't take any crap from the other girls or their pimps or any other of the street people, right? But she lets herself be a little fooled by men that she thinks...
love her.
Yeah, love her. And she's very quick to that loving judgment. We see in the beginning that she gets dumped and...
pushed into a river.
Yeah, and he takes all her money, and then when she comes home, she's talking to her best friend, and she says, oh, but he loves me. And the friend says, love? You knew him for a month.
Yeah.
So she's very quick with the love. And the end, same thing. Again, Fellini is very symmetrical in his storytelling, so the beginning is often the end.
Yeah.
Not that it loops around, but it's just similar.
Yeah.
And again, she very quick to marry this guy because she thinks it's a sign, but he's a scammer that's scamming her to steal her money. And when she realizes this, that's like the biggest moment of the film. It's not the end, but like pretty much the end, and it's touching and like really strong. The way she like just wants to die because she lost her faith in love. But then again, we see her regain it in the actual ending, where she.
Yeah, I suppose so. But like, I feel like with her character, the beginning, she's with Giovanni, and he pushes her into a river and steals her purse, which had around 40,000 lira, which I've tried to check multiple sources to kind of see how much that was, but I think it was, in the equivalent of money today, it was probably around $700.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert.
Yeah, it's like an amount that's big enough to put you in the dumps for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But small enough that, like, some people think it doesn't matter. Like, it's not a lot. Like, she thought it wasn't a lot. Like, it wasn't enough for someone to betray her.
Yeah, she mentions that, and why would... She's kind of in denial that he would push her into a river and, like, leave her to die over 40,000 lira. So, like, it is an amount of money where it would be kind of unfathomable for someone you think loves you.
Yeah, but, like, big enough that, like...
It would make a difference.
It would set you back for a while.
Yeah.
Especially her situation. She lives in, like, a literal cube.
But she does have a house, at least.
Yeah, she's very proud of that. She's very proud that she has a house, and the house has accommodations, light, gas, water.
And I mean, we do see a different side of
Rome.
Of Rome, where the cave people live, and she comes across an older woman who was I don't know, like a profound prostitute. I don't know. That's what I got. That it was that lady that she used to have apartments in Rome and in other places, and now she lives in a cave. And I think that's kind of Cabiria's turning point for our story, where she kind of really doesn't want to end up like her.
Yeah.
Because right now in the story that we're being shown, she's young and still has like life within her and can still work as a working girl, but
this movie just has so much death. I mean, all the Fellinis do, even like the non-popular ones, where like, yeah, we're seeing a woman that's trying to find love, and then a woman that's trying to find her way in life in a world that is very harsh and pretty much impossible to change your ways. But then we also get this juxtaposition of the society at the time, where you have the really poor people and then the really rich people that just super disconnected. They don't know, what other people go through at all. And then we see that there's people that have it even a lot worse than Cabiria does, where they're literally living under rocks, trying to live. They depend on social workers coming by sometimes, giving them food, chocolates.
Yeah, and she gets to experience both sides of the coin, like both sides of the extreme, because she meets the movie star, Lazari, I think is his name in the... Yeah,
it's a play on the actual actor that portrays this character, because he was like super popular in Italy at the time, and he plays a super popular actor in Italy, and they just like switch his last name by a letter. Yeah, it's like an inside joke, I guess, for people that know Italian cinema at the time.
Yeah, and so like she sees that this man, drives a nice car and has this amazing house or apartment.
It really is an amazing house. Even to today's standards, that's like insane.
Yeah. And it's just kind of like she can't even fathom any of it sometimes, I feel.
And she's in that house, and she's still proud that she has her own house.
Yeah.
And she's like, she says it's not your house, but I own it and it's mine. And there's people that don't have that. They don't have anything.
Yeah. And I've done this for myself,
Yeah. So she's very proud of herself, but also knows that she should be doing better at the same time. So it's kind of a veil that she wears.
Yeah. And I really like the scene where she has with the Lazari character, where they're at the club and they start dancing, and she kind of does her own little thing, do her own little beat. And I don't know, I just really liked it. I think that Fellini did it in a way that it made me feel like he is just endlessly entertained by his wife and really wanted to showcase her.
The way she moves is not replicable. I think she just does it so uniquely, and like she's not faking anything.
Yeah.
And this movie felt very effortless for her, especially. Like, I'm not saying she's a prostitute in real life, but the way that she played the characters' morals and the way she played the characters' just facial expressions and the way she moved was so effortless that I felt like you were watching her just be herself.
Yeah. And there's just so many moments in this film that are just so touching. I feel like the first time I watched it, I just wasn't connecting with anything, mostly because I guess I just didn't understand it at the time.
It happens.
You know, I just didn't get that she was a prostitute. I didn't really get why things were happening. But this time, after, you know, kind of knowing the plot line and knowing, okay, this is what this character is doing, this is what, you know, this means, I was able to, I think, connect with it a little bit more. And there was, you know, 2 moments that really got to me. And it was the one where her and the other prostitutes and I think one of the pimps and his uncle go to the religious thing, and they're all saying, like, thank you
to the Virgin Mary.
Yeah, to the Virgin Mary. And, you know, she gets very emotional and she's like, please let me change my life.
Yeah.
You know,
that's kind of her, like, turning point. Like, she's been building up to it, but that's the moment where you're like, she's done. And then she kind of, like, snaps at the little picnic thing they're doing outside.
Because she feels like nothing's changed, nothing is going, like, everyone kind of went there to be better people, and then they're all the same. Like, nothing happened.
Yeah, but even before that one, there's like a little prosecution going by the town, and all the girls are making fun of it. She kind of gets endeared by it, but then, you know, a car shows up and says get in. She gets in, so she doesn't get to follow that.
Yeah.
But then we do see her proceed to follow this. I don't know, I guess she sees it as a possible break. And yeah, there's a lot of memorable scenes in this.
Yeah. But the other scene that made me tear up a little bit was definitely when she gets betrayed again, this time by a man named Oscar.
Well, that's not his real name.
No, but that's what we know him as. And they meet because he was at the hypnotist show and she was hypnotized and basically kind of confessed her romantic side.
Yeah, that scene is another example of Fellini's, like, vaudevillain roots, where he loves that old time comedy sets. He plays that, like, pretty smoothly, but it's like you feel sorry for her. She just got exposed and used on stage
for entertainment.
Yeah, she was really hurt. I mean, she started with, like, saying that she wasn't gonna do it because she's not there to be laughed at, but then she ends up being laughed at.
Yeah.
And it's just, like, just so many things happening to her, but then immediately something that gives you hope, I guess.
Yeah, and I feel like Fellini did such a good job because when we first meet Oscar, or the character named Oscar, you know, he makes it seem like he actually does kind of, or at least is intrigued by her.
Yeah.
And so, like, when I watched this the first time, this was the first ever Fellini movie I watched, so I had no concept of where this was going. I was like, oh, like, her life is gonna turn around, like, this guy seems like he's really good for her. He, you know, doesn't, she makes a mention that he's the one that always pays for everything. He never asks her to pay for anything. He doesn't ask about her life, you know, or like the life that she's living right now and all that stuff. So she thinks he's a good guy, and then he, you know, he wants to marry her and all this stuff. And I'm like, ah, yes, like, this is great. But then as soon as he takes her to the woods, I'm kind of like, oh.
Yeah. And that's so well shot too.
Yeah. And so when she starts crying and just having, like, I would say, like, a panic attack on the ground, like, she just loses it. That makes me emotional too.
And she, like, he doesn't actually do anything in that scene. Like, he just stands there, and it's the camera cuts, and then Cabiria kind of says her own fate. She's kind of the one that, imagine if you pushed me in. Wait,
to take my money.
Wait, is that what you're gonna do? And then, like, I mean, it's pretty obvious because of the way it's shot, but, like, he doesn't actually do anything. So that's the storytelling without, just laying it out there
Yeah.
for you. But Fellini is known for building you up just to bring you back down. And in this movie, he does it so many times.
Yeah.
But it always feels hopeful. Even the ending feels hopeful.
The ending does feel hopeful.
Like she just lost everything yet again, but she's smiling.
I would say she's even worse off than she was in the beginning. She doesn't
got rid
have
of
a
the
house.
Yeah. But she still smiles. And she's crying. And her makeup runs down in
single black tears.
Yeah, it's supposed to look like a clown.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's reminiscing of her Lastrada makeup. And then she smiles and you're like, yet again, she can rise up.
Yeah.
But if the movie continued, of course she wouldn't. But it ends there, so we don't know what happens.
Yeah. Those two moments really got to me this time in a way that they didn't originally. And
that's good. That's why we rewatch stuff all the time. Especially the good stuff.
Yeah. It's definitely, I still think I like Lastrada better than this.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I feel like they're both very tragic in very different ways, though.
Mm.
And her character dies in Lastrada. But, I don't know. And it's very different, I think. Even though it does pertain, or it does talk about illegal activities, I think it's very different from his movie that he did right before this, which was Il Bidone.
Yeah.
And
well, that one's more of a neo-noir.
Yeah.
Well, I guess not neo because it was the 50s, so noir interpretation of the story. It's a lot darker. There's not a lot of positives the way this has, like, uplifting moments.
Yeah. And Messina's also in that one, but she plays a very two-dimensional character.
Yeah. Not through fault of her own or even, like, the directing or anything. Her character was just not that important. And
yeah. It was just to, like, have her there, I think, you know?
I mean, she's not great in that one, but you couldn't really be. Yeah. I don't care who you are. That was pretty impossible.
She was great in this, and I've seen a lot of...
I think this is her best movie, and she won Best Actress at the Cannes Film Festival, which we read the booklet that comes with the Criterion box set, and they talk about, like, this obviously won Best Foreign Movie. Mm-hmm. It was the second in a row for Fellini, so the first two foreign Oscars were both Fellini's. But the booklet says how much more important the Best Actress award was, because this movie really is about her. Yeah.
And I think it really solidifies her as being one of the greatest actresses of the really time, and, you know, probably of all time.
No, for sure. I mean, yeah.
She's so endlessly amusing, and there's so many moments in this where she makes me laugh, even though I don't think she's trying to be funny. It just makes me laugh because she just looks so awkward sometimes.
I think it might be her personality where she's always trying to be a little funny.
Yeah.
The way that she does hand movements and just facial expressions, she is funny. I mean, again, we talked on Lastrada how she was very compared to Charlie Chaplin, and I don't like that personally. I don't know how she feels about that. She might love it. You know, it is a compliment. Mm-hmm. Like, people don't mean it as an insult in any way, but I think she's so unique that comparing her to anyone makes no sense.
I understand that, and I don't know. This is such a good movie. It's a movie about hope.
Yeah.
About being naive about love.
Well, hopefulness comes with naivete. Mm-hmm. There's no way of separating the two, because if you're smart about life, you know there's no hope and everything's gonna go down from here, and we're all gonna end up in the same hole in the ground.
Right.
But this is my favorite Fellini movie. At least from, I'm gonna rewatch the ones we're gonna be talking about, so this could change, especially towards La Dolce Vita. I know a lot of people love 8.5. I'm not one of those. I do like it a lot, but I'm not like in the sense that it's one of the best of all time. I'm not really there. But yeah, I love talking about Fellini movies, and I'm very excited for the upcoming episodes, and you should be too. Yeah. You could subscribe. You could check the previous episode, but yeah, this is my favorite, and we'll see next episode where it is. I give it a 10 out of 10, obviously.
Yeah, and I gave it an 8 out of 10. I raised it from a 7 out of 10 on my first watch. Again, we watched it probably a little over a year ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago. I mean, it was
during COVID, so during COVID restrictions and all that.
This got the restoration around the Fellini 100th birthday. That's 2020. So, yeah. Probably.
Yeah, I gave it a 7 then because I knew it was good, but I just didn't get it. Didn't connect with me. But this time this time around it did, so I gave it a bump in star ratings.
Oh, yeah, that happens. I think I didn't like it as much as I did the first time, again, because of, like, the Oscar turn towards the end. Like, how Oscar just betrays her.
Yeah.
That was, more hitting in the first watch. But, I mean, I still love it. I love all of his movies. I'll suggest Il Bidone, because that's the one we skipped over. We covered Lastrada, and now Nights of Cabiria. In between, it's Il Bidone. Really suggest. It's really good.
Yeah. But I think we're going to end it there, and we'll see you guys next time.